Welcome to We Know Marketing, We Promise, the podcast where strategy meets conversation. We're Naoma and Kelsie, two agency owners who live and breathe branding and marketing. We're here to share real stories, smart strategies, and fresh ideas to help you build a brand that actually works. So grab a seat and your favorite drink and let's dive in.
The unexpected benefits of finding a business bestie. That may not be the title, actually, but that's what we're talking about today.
That's how I knew to reference the podcast, because we were looking through like what episodes we wanted to record, and we want to do some about marketing and then some that are more lighthearted about running businesses. And so she was like, I like referred to it as the business bestie video, but I'm like, I never use the word bestie and I never use the word biz, and it was like biz bestie, and I was like, this is cringe all over the place. So
I'm older than you. I can be cringe.
I mean, climb cringe mountain, as we say. You just gotta do it.
It's more of I don't want to type.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what it is.
That's fair. Okay.
But
so
this is what ChatGPT had prompts for us to explore. And so I'm going to ask you a question.
And this is saying that like we're the biz besties. This isn't like us talking about someone else. Like this is her and I's relationship and the things that we've experienced since we've become really good friends.
Yeah.
Since we've become biz besties.
That is pretty cringe.
I hate it.
Okay. What did you think collaboration looked like before having a business bestie? Sorry. It's so funny.
Number one, collaboration before biz bestie. So collaboration in the sense of like work, I think has been great. Like being able to collaborate with you on strategy has been super fun. So we've had a few clients that we've been able to do strategy sessions with and build out personal brand strategies. I've loved, I don't know, I guess like our talk at MedCon would also be a collaboration.
Yeah.
And I thought that went great.
No, it was so
I've
much
never
fun.
had opportunities to do something alongside someone who I really align with core values wise and feel safe enough in that space to like not feel like I need to compete or achieve something. It's like I really can fully be myself around you. And so that plays into the strategy calls and doing the speaking events and things like that. So it doesn't feel like a burden. It actually feels like you're taking part of the burden from me because I do feel so like safe and secure to be myself around you.
Yeah. I would say I feel the same.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because we both see things in similar ways, but I prefer to eat dirt than to run a social media agency.
And you see how hard it is.
I can only imagine how hard it is, so I don't want to do it. So I'm like, that's her lane. I don't need to be in that lane. I think it's more of how I see it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know. Cause I've been around other people in business and they've had no desire to go into social media in any way, but there's still like this one-upping that people will try to do.
Oh,
and we don't really do that with each other. And so the other girls that I've worked with in the agency industry, it has been a lot of like one-upping rather than really seeking to help each other out. So it's like when we would get on calls, me with someone else, like, because most of them are out of state too. So like you're in Oklahoma City. So I've never had close proximity either. But it would just be like, yeah, this is like what we closed this last week and how successful we are and what we're doing. And like, here's the issues that I'm running into. But they wouldn't really give me space to speak into that. And I also, because I didn't feel safe with them, wasn't going to allow them to speak into certain areas of my business. But with you, like, I think that came so slow that now I've allowed you in to see so many things that now I'm like, you really will have a really good perspective on this because I've allowed you to see more and really vulnerable places too. Yeah. And then you're not using the vulnerability that I've given you to squash me or hurt me. You encourage me and build me up and problem solve with me and things like that. I don't know that I've ever experienced that in a business friendship.
Yeah, I have, but it's just because I've been friends with my friend Michael for like so long, right?
Right.
So he's grown he's been in business like 20 years now. So when I started my business, it was just more of an encouragement. I will say that is very hard to find. Like to find somebody, I get the one-upping and that's kind of one of the reasons why I have also stayed a little off on my own in some of the women stuff in town and even larger, because it sometimes can feel very catty for no reason at all. I'm like, this is already hard. Why are we making it harder? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But I will say, like, I'm also a person that comes up with like walls, right?
You do.
So I mean, I'm not being mean or saying I don't want to be your friend, but it's just a lot harder for me to like start to open up those walls and to let you see more. And I will say, I mean, I had a lot of conversations with Peely and Michael about it, because I was like very concerned at how fast my walls came down around you. I was like, either this is a very good sign or she's going to stab me in the back. And so I had to have a lot of conversations with like very close friends about that. I think that that's part of it. But you've been able to like really get, like, we've been able to become very close very fast. And that's very weird for me.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends. So I'm that kind of person. But I have friends for a long time.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense.
How has having a biz bestie saved you from burnout? I don't think I've fully gone into full burnout mode since I've known you.
Yeah, it probably is more on me. Like our friendship has gotten deeper in the last year. And so I think about where I've been at in life in the last year. And I for sure have been, I pushed until I'm not burned out, but I am like slowing down drastically right now to not burn out. I've reached some really serious health issues this year because of
not slowing down
my lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Living a very chronically stressed life. And I grew up in a lot of chaos. And so I have brought chaos into my life as an adult because it's felt comfortable.
Because that feels normal.
It does feel normal. And like the alternative is very unknown, but I really like the alternative. And that's what I'm getting to do right now, is like not have a chaotic life. I'm actually very sturdy and stable right now. And I think you've helped with that, because even with adding an additional business on this year in the midst of burnout, because we did start the podcast, in the midst of that, like I have been able to still do the things I need to do with excellence, I would say, like for the most part, because I have an amazing team and because of you. And I think you've helped a lot with the business side of things too, where it's like I leave my office and I'm coming to your office and I go on a walk for 6 or 8 blocks up to your office because I need to process something, and I need to externally process. You're not going to hold something against me if I'm just coming to kind of like vent or process through something, and then I choose to make a different decision, or I choose to even stay in the same thing that I'm like venting about. Mm-hmm. You're not going to like hit me over the head and be like, you're so stupid. We just talked about this last week. And I've had friends do that.
I think one thing is we also are highly relational.
Yeah.
So when you've come and we've talked about issues and I'm like, oh, you're so stupid. Why didn't you do that? I also understand that there's like a whole layer of like relationship.
Yeah.
And also reputation. Like there's so much more, and that I may not know the full depth or breadth of that. And I'm giving advice. You can take it or not take it. It does not affect me if you take it or not take it. And I'm not going to hold it against you or not. Because I've also been in that situation where I'm like, I just need somebody to either validate my feelings or tell me that I'm not crazy. And I know I need to make this decision, and I'll get there eventually, but I need the time to get to my decision.
Yeah, and it's not personal. As you do get closer in relationship with people, it does start to personally affect you. And you have to notice when, like, wow, what your anger towards a situation that had nothing to do with me just affected me because I'm in such close proximity to you and I love you so deeply.
Yeah.
And so navigating that will be really interesting. And I do think that that's probably, to come in the next few years. And I noticed it with my friend Bethany this last, with my move and everything. And I said some things that like really hurt her. But previously, like she would just wipe that off her shoulder because like it's not personal. It's not personally affecting her, but because of how deeper our friendship is,
Yeah.
it really wounded her. And like, I was like, oh, there's more at stake here is what you realize in the relationship. And so I think we're probably going to get to that point. Yeah. And that's where if I see you avoiding, I'm going to have to come after you because I know that that's going to probably be your tendency. And it's like,
it is my tendency.
Yeah. And so if I hurt you, like, you're probably not going to say like, hey, that hurt. I'm going to have to see like, something's going on. She's avoiding me or something.
Say it, but you will know.
I will know. And then I can initiate and say like, hey, I want to talk about this. Did I do something that hurt you? And that's my gifting too, is like, I am an initiator. And so,
which is so
I'm
good.
prepared for that. Yeah. Like, and I do fight for my friendships and I'm extremely loyal and we're limited on our time. And so if I'm going to allow someone in and allow someone to be near my daughter and like those types of things, it's not something I think through lightly. And so even coming to grips with doing the podcast and all that stuff, like we say, we flippantly did it over margaritas, but there was a lot of inner turmoil on both of our ends of like, should we do this or should we not do this? I've never partnered with anyone in business. You've been wounded by that. And so it was like, it seemed like, it's so fun. They came up with this idea over margaritas, but there was so much more.
There was a lot more internal processing and even processing not together that had to happen for that to come about. Right.
Yes.
Because business is so personal that you're opening a lot of your vulnerabilities up to people. Mm-hmm. So it's not yes, we do make light of it. Like, we did this, but there's a lot more at stake. And as someone who had gone through a bad partnership, I know what can be at stake. Like Absolutely. I've seen the repercussions of that a little bit closer. Yeah. And that's why I've been more cautious maybe about like, hey, let's do this and like see how this goes, because in the end, the friendship is more important than the business, than the podcast, than the whatever.
Right. I agree.
Having the friendship stable, because we also have like our kids love each other and they hang out and they have so much fun. So that I know for us is going to be more important to maintain than a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oops.
No, I agree with that big time.
What's something you wouldn't have done without the other's push?
I like really wanted to do a podcast, but if we wouldn't have had that conversation and actually pushed and set a date and booked the tickets to go to Mexico City, like honestly, I think the push to Mexico City was less about getting the podcast content and was more about like
the deadline of doing it.
The deadline of doing it, and also how badly we needed that trip to build a deeper friendship and trust each other more to then be able to do a business together like a podcast.
That's true. I would agree with that.
If we didn't push each other, and I pushed you by saying like, I booked my ticket to Mexico City. So
you did.
Get on it.
I hadn't really even had a full conversation with Harrison about that. I was like,
your text back was like, let me talk to Harrison and make sure like this is all still okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Before I like book a trip to another country with
you, who I don't hardly even like, I hardly know you.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I've done crazy stuff, but yeah, that was a 20s Naoma move in her 30s.
It was so fun though.
It was so much fun. Yeah. I still think about those tamales. Those were so good.
Oh my gosh, they were so good.
Those were so good.
The whole trip was amazing. I really want to go back when I feel
better.
Much better, because I was like kind of off that trip. And then you also got sick. So we'll go back.
It was great times.
And we'll know how to record a podcast when we go back.
Hopefully by then. I feel like we're still learning.
Yeah. I'm just going to put it out there. Okay.
I think this one was my favorite one when I read it, which is, how do you balance friendship and business? And I just laughed out loud because there's no balancing it. No. We literally get together and we talk about business, and then we cry about personal stuff, and then we talk about business again.
Yeah. I do find myself though missing hearing about how your life is going, because I do notice when life is really, really busy or we have the kids around all the time, I can't like ask you intentional questions about how you're doing, like how's your heart and all these things, and like how are you actually feeling about even the different things in business but also in personal life. And so I find myself like actually missing that when we are in constant movements of like either doing podcast stuff together, so we're not really having any deep conversations, or the kids are around and we can't, or we're basically just like catching each other.
15-minute quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. How has your business bestie made you more confident? I think you've given me some confidence to really step into that brand strategy role a lot more of, because business is very lonely, and we talk about this on the podcast a lot, but business is lonely, and you do have friends that are in business and you can kind of talk about some stuff, but when they're a really good friend, you can really open up about like, hey, I'm feeling imposter syndrome and this is going on. And also I'm one of those people that does not ask for help, does not, because I always feel like I need to be the strong person, which is my 8 Enneagram coming through for sure. But there have been times where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Should I even be doing this? And then you just kind of like come in and you speak into that very clearly, without even me needing prompting. So that's been very nice for me.
Oh man, I think you've helped my confidence greatly with the strategy piece too, of just, I don't think we realized that was why we connected so deeply right off the bat. And then you were able to speak into that over the last like few months, and even kind of allowing strategy to be the gatekeeper of the rest of my business. So like if they don't go through strategy first, then they don't get the rest of my team, and almost like protecting my team from someone who wouldn't necessarily be an ideal client and making everyone go through strategy. And you definitely gave me the confidence to kind of push that forward. And so that helped a ton with my confidence. And then also just speaking into like the lies in my head of like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or I'm not doing the best that I could be doing, or I'm not smart and I'm not good at strategy. And those things that go through my head, you're very good at saying. And even when I've like shown you a strategy and you're like, golly, you're so good at what you do, like those small things are just like things I don't hear all the time.
No, because that's the thing is like that we don't have a boss above us that's like, hey, you're doing a great job.
Right. One more?
Okay. How do you navigate disagreements or differing opinions? We haven't had a full disagreement yet. We have a lot of differing opinions, but
yeah, we have differing opinions.
But I think there's a lot of respect. So I think that just helps with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, it's always like, I think we're both really good at saying, let me think about that, or I need to process that a little bit more. I'm not sure what I think about that. Yeah. If we're saying the same thing, but very different things.
Yeah.
We're talking about the same thing, but also very different. And so I think we both are really good at taking a pause and saying like, I need to process that more. I'm not sure. I could be wrong,
Yeah. That's where I think it's very, when you have a friend that, I don't know, I have friends that are very different from me because I grew up in a very chaotic place, and I'm also half Mexican, half American. So I have like these two cultures within me, and I don't know when one is getting pulled versus the other, because sometimes I can't differentiate if that's a Mexican culture thing or if that's an American culture thing. But I have learned to differentiate, like, let me take a pause and think about this before I say. I know myself well enough to know that I can be very hurtful, but I also think that from growing up in multiple cultures and a very different background than most people, I have very strong opinions, but I hold them loosely. Like, you can easily change my mind about something if you present facts, or you're like, you should think about it this way. And I think that you're also that way.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it easy to have disagreements or differing opinions, because we're not so stuck in the ways of like, this is how it has to be and this is what I believe. But there's a little bit more grace in allowing for some gray area.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think that.
And I think there's probably more of this to come. Like if we record the same episode in a year, I think at some point, because of how close we've gotten, like there will be conflict, and we're going to have to figure out how to work through that. And one of us is going to mess up and hurt each other. Like we're not perfect.
Yeah.
So how will we handle that? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be, I think I know well enough that I will know if I've hurt you, but you're not necessarily going to come to me and say that. But if you hurt me, like I'm going to directly come to you and say like, hey,
which
this
works
really hurt
out
my feelings.
great.
Yeah, because we really can like operate in that way. And so I think that's how it will go. But then I don't know. It just depends. And so we haven't really had any disagreements or big hard things. And so but I think that those are a part of a deepening friendship, and that doesn't mean there's something wrong with the relationship. It just
no, not at all. That's just part of life. And also nobody is I mean, I also don't want to be surrounded by people that are exactly like me, right?
No.
Like that makes it kind of boring. So Peely and I get in fights all the time. You can ask her.
You guys are both such strong personalities, though. So I'm like, man.
I mean, there are. I will say though, like, though I know myself, and I can say something that's very hurtful. I've also only crossed that line probably like 2 times in my full adult life.
Yeah.
So I'm very, unfortunately about me is I'm a long fuse, but I don't forget quickly. But it takes a lot to like fully anger me, to fully hurt me. But when it's done, it's kind of done.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it is very beneficial to have a friend that is in business that you become close with, not just because of business, but friendship too, because it's a lonely journey.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to like stay in your head, because you will.
Yeah.
You'll stay in your head thinking this through, thinking this over.
Yeah.
And you can talk about this with your partner or your significant other or your best friend. But if they don't own a business, it's really hard for them to understand like that full mental load and how you really cannot just shut it down. Like, I want to, but I also don't want to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
yeah, I think that I'm grateful it's there, but it depends on the day. Like the load.
Like everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. So, got to surround yourself with a strong support system.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll may do another one of these at some point later. And that's a wrap on this episode of We Know Marketing, we promise. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your business bestie. Want more? Follow us for updates, behind the scenes, and plenty of marketing gems.